Elote, it's a Mexican word, and it's essentially a grilled corn on the cob in Mexico. Our goal is to buy as much locally as possible because, we see the way that impacts not only our local economy, but also the freshness of the food and the quality, and just it limits your carbon footprint for the tomatoes to travel 15 miles instead of 1,500.
Right.
But we are aware, we're a Mexican restaurant. We have guacamole on the menu, and there's
Right.
no avocado trees in Oklahoma. We've
Right.
got tequila. There's no agave. So,
Right.
It does become problematic in some issues, but we just do the best that we can. So we say that in the summertime, usually 70% of our food is sourced locally.
Wow.
But then the rest of the year, it might average out to only be about 30%. But,
Sure.
over the whole time, it's pretty high.
I understand you actually compost and return that back to the farms that you buy to.
Yeah, there's
Buy from.
Demelda from Newsom Community Farms is a great lady. What they were doing at the time was they were taking our compost and taking it to low-income schools and doing like a teaching garden there.
Bless you and her.
I mean, she is the one. She's helping me, extremely, but it's also just a benefit for us that she's then
Right.
passing that forward.
Right.
But yeah, so in teaching gardens, and now they use it on their own farm as well. And North Tulsa is it's a lower income part of Tulsa, and so it's really, I feel very blessed that we're able to contribute to, what they're doing to conquer the food desert out there.
Right. Farm to fork, back to farm.
Yeah, I guess so.
That is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's the challenge of composting is for a restaurant of your success?
The challenge is like anything, it's having your staff make a change. So we started out this way, but anytime I feel like, humans are creatures of nature, and when you ask them to do something different than what they know, most people don't compost at their house. They might
Right.
recycle, and even people having to separate their recycling, can be difficult. And so I think just training my staff to compost, sometimes I'll come back and I'll see that they've put something in the trash that, the compost is just 3 feet away from them, and they have put it in the trash. And, so that is probably the hardest part, is just getting my employees on board. But I'm really proud whenever I see like my cooks bringing in their recycling from their home, because they might live in an apartment and they're not able to recycle there, and they'll bring their recycling here and recycle. It's like, that means a lot to me.
I understand you actually save money by composting.
I think we do, definitely. Well, for one thing, our composting and our recycling limits the amount that we have to spend on trash removal. So
Right.
I think a typical restaurant would get their dumpster picked up multiple times a week,
Right.
and we get it picked up one time a week.
Once.
Just once. And
And this is a pretty good sized restaurant.
Yeah, we do a lot of business here because we're in the middle of downtown, so we've got
Right.
a lot of lunchtime and nighttime business. So that has definitely lowered that cost. And then also we just don't have like the varmints and pests that would be lingering around, your alley. We don't really have that problem.
What other things have you been doing to make your restaurant more sustainable?
Biodegradable to-go boxes,
Good.
LED lights. Our toilets are low flow, so it's like the dual flush. We actually were applying for the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's largest recycled bar. Our bar,
I love that.
yeah, it's actually the whole like farm to fork to farm idea. We actually did the same thing. We gave we always give our glass bottles, obviously, to a recycling company, but we actually went back and got them back from them because we built the base of our bar out of, instead of using like new bricks and mortar, we
Yeah.
used glass bottles.
Fantastic.
And then old railroad ties, and then actually the top of our bar is made out of some lumber from my house. I did a remodel at my house, and we took out some 1950s like insulation and beams, and we saved the wood, and then we had a carpenter build the top of the bar out of it. So everything except for the nails and the mortar from a huge bar that seats 20 people, and it's real, it's functional and everything, is made out of reclaimed materials. So
Wow.
Yeah,
so I can feel less guilty about having
that farmer's market margarita. Yeah, really, we recycle in the restaurant. Just anything we can eliminate waste. I've been in the industry for 15 years now, and I went to culinary school, chef, front of the house, back of the house, all that stuff. And I just saw so much waste in the industry. So anything we can do, even if it's like if our printer paper on our checks prints out a really long receipt, we'll see how we can minimize that. And it saves us money because
Yep.
we're not buying as much paper, and it also is better for the environment because we're not wasting so much. Because let's face it, most people just throw away their credit card receipts. And then just other things, like fair trade coffee. We try to buy, like our coffee mugs are from a potter here locally rather than getting something that's, made in China. So we do our best on that sort of stuff to try to support the local people. And
Are they supportive of you?
Yes, it is easier to just call, said big box company that would
Right.
just, send a truck with everything I need. However, those people aren't dining at my restaurant. And so for example, I regularly see our honey guy in here eating, or our beef guy in here eating, or I find myself on their newsletters saying, enjoy our beef, don't feel like cooking tonight, don't forget elote, how's our meat? And so I really enjoy that. We did a kind of a wheel one time of the economics of buying local. It was, we had just had a bunch of our police officers and firefighters laid off. And so I did this thing where essentially, I bought a dollhouse from Lundaby Eco Baby, which is a local place. And then she came in and ate. And then I, bought beef from Jeff. And then Jeff went and had to get a new pair of pants from a local guy that, and just kind of how it goes around and how the sales tax on all that is generating more revenue for our local economy to help people here in town and to pay for our streets and our police officers, and just how that can stay. Part of that dollar spent at that big box store is going to someone in another state as opposed to the worker that's there. Right. Unlike shopping local where it's not going anywhere, so unless I finally take a vacation.